Hello, I'm Catherine McGuire. Welcome to the Soul Alchemist podcast. If you are on a journey of personal or spiritual growth, you are in the right place. It's my desire each week to share wisdom, inspiration, and practical tools with you to help you remember the essence of who you are, step into and reclaim your inner gold, and live a joyful, fulfilling, and expansive life. Welcome along. It's so lovely to have you here on what is a wild, windy day in Tortorella. It is so blustery. But I'm hoping all that wind and that fresh air will blow the last vestiges of this lurgy that I have away. As you can probably hear, I still have a bit of it in my voice and in my throat. I am very much over it, I have to say. I'm over this cold, but obviously it is not quite over me just yet. No, I was saying to my husband, at the start of the year, I said, I want to move into a place of, softness in myself and kind of into a slower, gentler place in myself. I have to tell you, the last 3 weeks with this lurgy have made me do just that. Not in the way I thought it was going to happen, but there you go. That's often how these things unfold. So wherever you are, I hope you are well. Yesterday on Instagram, I asked if anyone had a question they wanted me to answer in this week's podcast. And Melissa had a great question. So, Melissa's question is how to find self love and confidence through the soul alchemy journey. Let me read that again. How to find self love and confidence through the soul alchemy journey. Such a gorgeous question. Thanks, Melissa, for asking it. And I think it's a question a lot of people can resonate with. So to answer it, I want to kind of break the question into three parts and kind of start backwards. So I want to start with soul alchemy. So what is the soul alchemy journey? If you've been with me a while, or if, I've been talking about soul alchemy and what that is. If you're new to the podcast, maybe you're wondering what it is, but I just want to kind of frame it from my perspective so that we're all on the same page as we go through this. So for me, soul alchemy, the process of alchemy is taking something dense. So for the great alchemist, that would have been lead and turning it into gold. And the theory was that, as you worked with the metals, it wasn't just about the metal, that the alchemists themselves changed through the process. So really what the alchemists were alchemizing was themselves. And that for me sums up soul alchemy, because we take what is dense, we take what is heavy inside us, and that can be a wounding, a belief, a pattern, an ancestral pattern, an experience we had that has left us traumatized or lost our sense of self in it, whatever it is, the challenges of life. We take all those things and we alchemize them. And in my case, in my work, I use a mixture. I use a mixture of psychology, I use a mixture of shamanic journeying, I use a mixture of energy medicine with my clients. So I use a mixture of things to take whatever is heavy and to alchemize it and get the gold. And so we get the lesson in it, we got the learning. You also get the energy. So when we have something heavy inside us, it costs us energy. It's an energy drain, it's a leak. So you get that energy back. And then it's what do you want to do with that energy? How do you want to move forward in life with this new packet of energy that you have access to? And now that you're not leaking energy or draining energy, you have more energy, more life force to show up for who you want to be, for your purpose, for the things you want to do, for your goals, for your desires, for your loves. Okay. So that for me is soul alchemy. And as we go through that process, we change, we transform, we grow, we mature, we step into ourselves, we embody ourselves in new ways. And we become a medicine carrier. We become the medicine carrier because we have, alchemized the rot. And that medicine that we carry can become wisdom and inspiration that we can share with others, or we can act for as role models for other people in our lives. So that for me is soul alchemy, and that's the soul alchemy journey. So that's the first piece. Okay. So that's what soul alchemy is. And then Melissa asked, how to find self love and confidence. So the second part of that is to find self-love and confidence. There, we have to, if you're looking to find it, we have to make the assumption that it has been lost. Because if you're trying to find something, it means you've lost something. If you're trying to find your keys, you've lost them. So we've lost self-love and confidence. And that doesn't happen in one fell swoop. There's not one moment in our lives where we lose our confidence, we lose our self love. It usually happens by degrees, a series of instances, a series of things that occur. And they chip away at our confidence, they chip away at our self love to a bigger or lesser degree, depending on the person. All right. For some people, it may erode their confidence completely. For some people, it could be 10, 20, 50, 80%. All right. The same with self love. Maybe you just can't love yourself, or maybe you can, but it's a small amount. All right. So the first part of this then has to be, where did you lose it? Where did you lose your confidence? What eroded your self love? And this, honestly, my darlings, is the hard work, because this is where we have to roll up our sleeves and go, well, where did I lose it? Where did I lose it? And that does often involve a bit of an archaeological dig, which is, okay, what were the instances? What were the situation? Who were the people involved that caused that? My connection to my confidence, my connection to my self love to be diminished. And that's where we have to do the alchemy work, because often there will be forgiveness, often there will be acceptance, often there may be anger or rage that has to be worked through. Maybe there's guilt or there's shame, all that good stuff. But they're the parts, they're the rot that we have to look at. And then in alchemizing them, we set that energy free and we take our energy back from those situations. And the truth is, nobody can take our confidence and nobody can take our ability to self love. We lose it, we give it away based on a belief that we're not good enough, we're not worthy, we're bad, whatever that is. Okay, so that's where we do the first big piece of soul alchemy love, or soul alchemy journey work around that. All right. And for most people, you need to do that with someone. You can do certain aspects of it yourself. But for most of us, we need to be held in that process because we are tender, we are vulnerable. And because we often can't see the bigger picture ourselves, we need someone who isn't engrossed in the story, who hasn't been in the journey, who can look at it, with that bird's eye perspective. And in shamanism, we call it with eagle eye perspective, where you see the bigger picture and you can look and go, okay, I see the pieces of this puzzle. I see energetically, I see what has happened here. I can see where the work has to be done. I can maybe see part of the story that you can't see because you're focused on one part of the story because that's where you are in it. And these are the pieces we need to work on to retrieve that energy, to heal those parts so those experiences can be alchemized. All right. And I really feel this is a place where we really have to step into the vulnerability of asking for help. Sometimes we can do things on our own. And I do believe we all should have a set of skills, a set of tools that we can use so that we're independent, so that we're self-sufficient. But there are times when we need a fresh set of eyes. And there are times when we need to be held. We need a space holder. We need someone who can hold that alchemical cauldron for us as we process our stuff. Okay. So where did you lose it? What happened? And then you do the alchemical work, the healing work around those instances, about those circumstances. All right. The next part of that, it's like when we do that work, it's like we kind of come to like zero. We've wiped the slate clean. So we haven't lost it. We know where it went. We know what happened. We've gone through the circumstances. We've done the healing work. And then we're kind of at 0 point. But we don't actually want to be at 0 point. And, in Melissa's question, I want to find self love. I want to find confidence. So we want to put something back in the pot. All right. And for this, and this is where we turn to the next part of the journey. So that first part, I was talking about in last week's podcast, there's a time where we're down in the roots working on the rot, and then we have to raise our gaze. I wrote about it in the newsletter yesterday, if you got my newsletter. And then it's like, it's where we've been, but now where are we going? What are we doing? Where are we heading now that we've done this healing work? And for me, when we start this part of the journey, I always come back to the poet David Whyte. And David Whyte wrote a beautiful poem. And the first line of the poem is, start close in. start close in. And I really think that is so helpful because when we're looking about where we're going on our journey, we can look too far into the future and it can seem too much. So if we start close in, it's like, what's the next one step we can take? And for me, I look to Mother Nature. So Mother Nature is really smart. And Mother Nature, she sets us up so that we can give love easily. So if you think of any baby, my neighbor got a teeny tiny puppy yesterday. If you think of any baby, baby puppy, baby kitten, baby human, baby giraffe, baby horse, baby sheep, like they're so damn cute. They are so damn cute. And it's Mother Nature's way of getting us to release, those bonding hormones. So we connect with this small little being, be that your child or an animal. All right. So, what I would suggest to do after you've done the work or as you're doing the work of healing, get a photo of yourself when you were really small, and put it in front of you. Have it somewhere that you see it all day, whether that's your desk at work, your workspace, if you're at work at home, somewhere around where you see, somewhere beside the kettle where you're making your cup of tea, on your fridge, at the side of your bed, somewhere on the mirror in your bathroom where you brush your teeth. Put it somewhere that you're going to see it regularly, that young you. Because when we lose confidence and when we have lost that connection to our self love, what we tend to do is make ourselves less and judge ourselves a lot. But if you have that younger version of you and he or she is looking at you through that photo all the time, and you start into that inner dialogue of, I'm not good enough. I'm so, whatever it is, I'm so lazy. I'm so not, whatever that negative critical talk is, look at that small version of you, that younger version of you, and ask yourself, do I really believe that? Would I say that to them? That little girl or that little boy, would you actually say those cruel, cutting, critical words to them? And I bet you won't. I bet you won't. Because you wouldn't say it to the child. But that child is inside you. And it's that child inside you who heard those critical words or those hurtful words or had those challenging experiences. So get out a photo of yourself really small and put it somewhere where you can see it and speak to him or speak to her. I love you. You're gorgeous. You're so smart. I can see the magic in your eyes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you lost the connection to it, but I'm working at getting it back. I'm sorry it hurt. I'm really sorry it hurt and that I couldn't take care of you, but I was small. But I'm all grown up now. I will promise, I absolutely promise to look after you and cherish you and keep you safe and give you the love that you could not get before. And talk to that child because that child is you. And tell them all the loving things that they needed to hear. Tell them all the loving things that they still need to hear. Start close in. And bit by bit, you build that connection. Bit by bit, you build a bridge from who you are now to that child. And that bridge is filled with self love. And when you build that bridge, you start to get confident. It's like, this is who I am. This is who I am. I'm not the woundings, even though they have shaped me. I am not other people's harsh words. This is who I am. And you start to remember who you are. You remember your gifts. You remember your qualities. You remember the things that make you uniquely you. And that's where you build your confidence. And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is a beautiful, beautiful journey. It's a beautiful journey. where you recover and reclaim and reconnect to yourself. And I promise you, I've seen this in my own life and I've seen this in the women I work with. Once you reconnect to and reclaim the essence of you, you never lose it again. Because you know all the work you had to put in to reconnect to her or him. But you also know the pain of not being yourself. And I've yet to meet a person who has lost themselves twice. Because in the reclamation, in the remembering, in the journey, you get strong and you become an advocate for yourself. You become the custodian of yourself. And you tend not to ever lose yourself again. Doesn't mean you won't have bad days. Doesn't mean you won't have challenges. But you know who you are in your bones. So let's recap Melissa's question. How to find self-love and confidence through the soul alchemy journey. The soul alchemy journey is looking at those parts that rot in our roots, coming face to face with it, either by ourselves if you can, or with support, someone who can hold you in the alchemical container. So you can meet the rot, unpack it, unwind it, drain the toxins from it, and alchemize it into gold. So then you can reclaim the gold, reclaim your energy, reclaim your power, reclaim your dreams, reclaim your potentiality. When you have done that, that brings you to 0 point. The next part is to build on that foundation that is now solid and strong. To do that, start close in. Get a photo of you really, really young. Put it somewhere you will see it as often as possible, or even make it your screensaver on your phone. And every time you see it, take a moment, look at him, look at her, connect with them. And anytime you have those harsh words, like criticism going through your mind, pause and go, would I actually say that to them? Would I say that to that child? And I bet you won't. So don't say it to yourself. And then start to bridge the gap between you and her, taking care of that little child, that little magical child that was so full of your essence before the world got hold of them and made them forget. And as you do that, and as you keep doing that, you build self-love for yourself. You close the gap between that child and yourself. And then the confidence comes because as you keep doing that, you remember your gifts, you remember your qualities, you remember the essence of who you are. And then you blossom. And then you blossom, and then you expand. You expand fully into the furthest reaches, if you're a tree, into the furthest reaches of who you are. So I hope you found this helpful today. I would love to know. Let me know where you're at. And thank you, Melissa, for the question. But let me know where you're at on that journey. Let me know where you're at on that journey. Let me know if this spoke to you today. Let me know if it helped. And if you do need space in that holding, if you need someone to hold that alchemical container for you, get in touch. That's what I do so well. Or if you want to really take a deep dive into this, join me in Dublin on the 26th of April. We are going to step deeply into your roots and really allow you to expand into your wisdom, expand into your gifts, expand into the essence of who you are, and own it. Own it in a big way. Own it so that you walk out of that workshop room full of confidence of who you truly are. And then go out to whether you want to take a new step in your life, in your career, in your your journey of being yourself. You will be full to the brim of the essence of you. So join me. And if you want to find more about that, get in touch, Catherine@CatherineMaguire.com. I would love to have you in the room. I would love to have you with me in person to take that soul alchemy journey. So I wish you a gorgeous week. I am sending you so much love. And thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Melissa. And wherever you are in your journey, may you be blessed. May you be blessed with self-love and the confidence to be your gorgeous, unique, radiant, authentic self. Have a gorgeous week. I'll see you next week. all my love. Slán agus ciao.